Hi, I'm Dempsey Pulot, and this week I'm reviewing... Now before we start off, as always, I just want to take a quick second to remind you guys to make sure you hit that like button if you like today's video, and if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie related content weekly. But without further ado, let's jump into today's film. Fatal Affair was directed by Peter Sullivan and stars Nia Long as a married woman who cheats on her husband with an old friend, played by Omar Epps. When she cuts the relationship short, though, she doesn't realize just how badly he wants her, and his obsession results in a game of cat and mouse that ends up turning her whole world upside down. Now, if this premise sounds familiar, that's because this movie has absolutely been made before. Some of the variables have been swapped around here or there, but I promise you, the story remains the same. Personally, it reminded me of the Screen Gems movie that came out a couple years ago called The Perfect Guy, which, interestingly enough, starred Omar Epps' Love and Basketball co-star Sana Lathan. But more than anything, this film gave me some serious Tyler Perry's A Fall from Grace vibes. And believe it or not, that film only came out 6 months ago. Yeah, 2020 has been like 10 years long, and we probably should have known that it was going to be bad anyway when that film dropped in the first place. In all seriousness, though, I guess what I'm trying to say is that this film is really generic and really predictable. But believe it or not, those weren't the reasons why I didn't like this film. For one, its title is a total lie. That thing that Nia Long and Omar Epps have going on is definitely not an affair. Heck, it's barely an entanglement.
An entanglement?
Yes.
Without spoiling too much for those of you guys who actually do want to see this film, they really don't do more than kiss, and for that the guy still goes nuts. Yes, technically Nia Long's character does cheat and it is ethically wrong, but it's not as intense as the title makes it seem. That's all I'm saying. And the reason why she cheats never really seems justifiable. In the film, she says that it feels like waking up next to her husband sometimes feels like waking up next to a stranger. And we're never shown that. Throughout the entirety of the film, the husband seems like the nicest guy in the world, and this will not be the last time you hear me say this, okay? He's very loving and he's very affectionate. And by those standards, it's very hard to understand where Nia Long's character is coming from. It makes it very hard to suspend your disbelief when you really don't understand her logic in the first place. Perhaps if he were portrayed as a jerk, it'd be a little bit more believable, but the guy's also recovering from an accident in the film, so ultimately it makes Nia Long's character seem like the jerk. Despite that, though, I really did like Nia Long's performance in this. While I don't think she's the best victim, which she's kind of forced to be for the first half of the film, when she goes on the offensive in the second half of the film, that's when I really start to think she comes into her own. Omar Epps is also admittedly good in here, though he's not the most consistent. He's really good at playing like the sociopathic, calm kind of crazy where he might be able to turn at a moment's notice, but you can't really tell and anything could trigger him. This is most prevalent when he meets his psychiatrist in the film, and also when he kind of muscles his way into Nia Long's family and he becomes friends with her husband. Though there are also moments where he's kind of a bit over the top, where he has this ridiculous smile that you can't help but laugh at. That's how goofy it seems. And I don't know if that was an intentional choice to display the spectrum of sanity that his character is supposed to have, but it didn't really work in my opinion. My favorite character, though, is, and you probably guessed this by now, the husband, played by Stephen Bishop, who I don't think I've seen in anything prior to this. I could be wrong, though, but he's definitely the most likable character. You really feel for him, as I said before, because his wife talks so badly about him in the very beginning, but he turns out to be a very nice person, and you would think that with the way she speaks about him that he won't be nearly as involved in the film as he is, but he turns out to be a very crucial part. He deserves to be in the situation the least, yet he ends up being the film's biggest victim, in more ways than one. But it's not just his likability that I appreciated. I also appreciated the fact that he's given some of the film's best dialogue, and it's something I'll say positively about the film as a whole, that it, even though it's very formulaic and very cliched at times, that it has a really honest and realistic approach to the situation at hand, which you don't always see in films like this at all. There are some very honest conversations that are had by the characters that I feel would be had if the things in this film happened in real life, if that makes sense. Now, this film isn't bad per se. As you just heard me mention, the writing's okay, the acting's alright, the direction's decent. The editing is a bit jarring at times. That's just because there are some scenes that are awkwardly cut together, but there are also some really solid suspense sequences. It's just all so generic that you never really feel compelled to care about what's happening. And it sucks because I knew almost everything that was going to happen before it happened. And I feel like if you've seen a film like this with a similar plot before, you will too. And the reason why I say almost is because the one thing that truly surprised me was the ending. The climax happens so quickly, the film ends so abruptly, and there's no real closure for the audience. Not even the setup for a potential sequel, which I don't think anybody wants, but still. Overall, Fatal Affair is a thriller by definition, but it's as unoriginal and anticlimactic as they come. Now, if you're looking for a way to kill 90 minutes, it'll absolutely get the job done, but by the time the next one of these films rolls around, you'll barely remember it. And for that, I'm going to give this film 2 stars.
Hi, I'm David.
Guys, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to view this video. It really does mean the world to me. And once again, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well for more new movie-related content weekly. Now, if you happen to see this film, it is available right now on Netflix. And regardless of what I think, I want to know what you guys think. If you loved it, if you hated it, let me know what you thought about it down below in the comment section. I look forward to reading and responding to all of your comments. But in the meantime, that is all the time that I have for you guys today. I do have some more stuff that I'm going to be posting this week. A little bit more experimental, but I look forward to sharing it with you guys, so be on the lookout for that. I should probably get back to work though, right? Until next time, I'm Dempsey Pallot. Take care.